Well, hi there, friends, neighbors, and preppers. Perrin Levitt here for Prepper Post News, courtesy of Freedom Prepper, on the day after. This is Thursday, January 21st, 2021, and I'm sure a numerologist could do wonders with the numerical date. But this is one of those funny occasions where, for production scheduling reasons, I had to do this one immediately before I found out what the big story of yesterday was. So I'm sure we covered all that last night. I'm sure it worked out great. Sticking to my guns, even right now, right? Not literal guns, unless it worked out that way. Woo! So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter video. I think we could all use a little break from the news. I want to talk about news of the Freedom Prepper, which is outstanding. But first, I'm just going to go through a couple of generic headlines about things that are carrying over from last year and previous years that many of you are interested or have expressed interest in lately. And let's get right to it. We have the World Health Organization. This is the international body of doctors and scientists who we may always trust with our all things medical. And I have a Reuters story for you. Everything is linked up at freedomprepper.com. The WHO, the World Health Organization, says move faster. All you countries, all you hospitals and NGOs and all you doctors, especially the governments, you've got to move faster distributing the vaccine, or else we run the risk of a quote unquote catastrophic moral failure. So they want to speed everything up, beat down the cost, and yeah. I have more morality questions about the vaccine and the whole pandemic show that we've been treated to. And this is a German story. I've got this linked up from the Sun, but it's not exactly limited to Germany. The Merkel administration, which is getting ready to hit the road, thank God. AFD for me. Her Merkel, possibly the worst, at least the second worst German chancellor ever, is considering imprisoning people who don't go along with the show. All of these pandemic and vaccine heretics out there, people who don't listen to scientists. And if here you just get banned from Twitter, over there you may get imprisoned. They want to lock people up in all of these secured camps that were originally meant for refugees. I see several patterns, and I see one beyond the abuse of the German people for faux medical reasons. Where are all the refugees? And, where they are is integrating in, or not integrating, but they are running amok in German cities. They've been processed through the refugee camps, and now they're committing crimes and sucking up resources. They're doing things that the people aren't even allowed to talk about. They're committing crimes, but reporting the crime is the crime. But these centers are open, so they're going to start locking you up. I'm not sure if we have anybody in Germany. I'm sure through one of the platforms we have to. Keep an eye on that and look for that to spread to France, England, Italy, America, all of your declining freedomless countries. Speaking of freedom, Dr. Roberts had earlier this week, he wrote, he's always writing columns about the changes in America that he's observed in his, I think, 80 plus years. And he comments very well on the not just the demise of the American nation, but in the change of the character of the American people. And what it boils down to, I've got this linked up to his website. So many of us have just ditched morality and spirituality. We have traded it in on anything else, from creature comforts to the security of Big Brother, big tech, and it's really, really, really having consequences. Crisis Magazine, there was a great op-ed written about one of those consequences that may take place in North Dakota, where the state, I call this a war against the remnants of the Christian church forever, ever since the early Middle Ages. There's been a doctrine frequently incorporated into positive law, statutory law, that says that what you tell your priest, your preacher, or your spiritual counselor is a dead secret between the two of you, and it cannot be used against you. This is to encourage people to confess sins and lead moral lives. What North Dakota is saying is that, hey, some of these people do bad things, like they, beat up children. Everybody else is a mandatory reporter. They hear about it, they've got to report it to the police. Preachers and priests and rabbis and imams are exempt from that, and whatever else, whatever your religion, whoever the holy man is exempt for obvious reasons. They want to change that. Now, it's funny. I imagine in North Dakota, like where I am, like where you are, it's kind of hard to get into a church and see a preacher these days. But this is just going to be one more nail in the coffin, leading us down the road to where Australia is, and really in a lot of parts of America, we're already there. RT reports in Australia, there's a hospital that puts up signs about faith. It's important to have faith. And Satanist, outright Satanist, the Church of Satan, whatever they're called, has won a symbolic victory, because now their little pentagram goes on this poster of faith organizations along with the cross and all the others. Australia, like America, was founded by Englishmen, and it was once a Christian nation. I would argue that if it was still a Christian nation, the only symbol you would need would be the cross, the crucifix. Signs of change all around us. And boy, we've had some big changes lately. Let me get back to the feature of the day, is about what's going on with Freedom Prepper and the Prepper Post News, etc. I want to say hello to everybody watching at YouTube, everybody watching from Freedom Prepper, everybody listening to the podcast. And I've got a chart that I'll put up here about the growth in the podcast listens by the day since we, I guess this is since we started it, or since it really kind of kicked off. I'm not quite sure when I started doing these live. I want to say it was towards the end of October, and we had growth in October. I'll take the credit. The big spike in October was when I started doing them, trailed off, and then it skyrocketed again, and it's just been doubling and doubling, and we look forward to that continuing. People like to listen, and people like to view. Thank you so much. All of our success is for you, and thanks to you. And I want to talk about some of the other videos we've had up in the past, just the past week, here at the YouTube channel. You can generally find this stuff in article form over at the website. But just the other day we had an article, a video article, a very short one, on using an axe to build a survival shelter in the snow. Things that, many of you that have snow on the ground this time of year might find interesting. Also, if it's really cold, you can use the ground to generate heat to survive outside in the winter. If you go outside in the winter and it's cold where you are. One that I just found fascinating, and I think I did the original write-up conversion on this, was how long to let your car idle to stay warm. If you're out somewhere, it's freezing, it's snowing, based on a very simple formula off of engine displacement and how much gas you have, you can determine how long you can run the car and run the heater without running out of gas. And I've known some people that have been in that kind of situation before. I knew a guy that he was hunting or kayaking or something in the winter time, and he at the very end of the trip, he fell in the freezing river, and it was all he could do to get to his car, and he stripped off all of his wet clothes, and he turned the heat on and just sat there for about 2 hours trying to thaw himself out. So take a look at that one. Also, uh, if I don't do these originally, then Scott or Joyce puts them together. I think this is a Scott one. 12 fun things to do during quarantine. And these are 12 fun things that you can do anytime. So don't ever forget to take a look down the videos that don't involve me and the news. They are beautiful robot voices. I think it's a trio of them that read these other little short articles out. Always something to learn. And if you really want a perspective you're not going to get anywhere else, you've got to join freedompreppercommunity.com because we have some house experts on multiple subjects that just walked in on us and are sharing their expertise for free. We've got a set of forums and sub-forums on everything from emergency news to food, literature, tactics, self-defense, you name it, it's there. Just this week, or in the past several weeks, we've had a lot of news updates. We've got some really good nutrition stuff going. Got a whole discourse on herbal remedies and cooking with herbs, storing herbs, things that I would have never thought of, and a lot of tips. A lot of tips with links and suggested readings show up. So it's something you should really, really, really check out. Always come back here 5 days a week. And please, on holidays, I noticed that the traffic dips a little bit. I understand, but I had a show about Dr. King's perspective on our crazy 21st century mess. And go back 5-6 days and take a look at that one. It was pretty interesting. I do notice, thank you guys again, even if we have a decline in views, the likes and the great comments just keep flowing. So you keep those flowing today. I'm going to shut it down. Tomorrow we'll talk more about where we go in the future, because the final word of the day is keep on prepping. That's 3 words, but I'm going to close out with those. We know where we are and we know what we've got to do, and we'll get right back to it tomorrow. See you then.